So we're going to work through a couple of the examples of different ways to represent data. So the first one is a stem and leaf plot. So the first thing I always do when I get a set of data is write them in numerical order. So that's what I did here already. Now what I always do is just also after I've done that, double check that the number of data points that I have is the number that we started with. So I have 15 data points listed, and then just double check that you started with 15 data points. 15 and 15. So that's good. Of course, there's other areas to make mistakes, but that's a good first way to check to make sure we're on the right track. So for a stem and leaf plot, we call the stem, or we use place values for the stem. So since these are all numbers from 20 to 50, or numbers in the 20s to in the 50s, I'm going to use the stem of 10 values and the leaf of the 1 values, or the 1 place holder. So I'm going to start with making a key. So we're going to say that with a stem of 2, or if you had a value, with a stem of 2 and a leaf of 5, that would equal 25. So for our stem and leaf, we need to go from the 20s to the 50s. So we need 20, 30, 40, 50. And then we just list all the numbers in their 20s. So we've got 23, 24, 24, 25. So I'm going to list 3, 4, 4, and 5. So if you got two 24s, you need 2 4s within your leaf there. And then you do the 30s. So we've got 32, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then the 40s. 40, 41, and 49. So 0, 1, and 9. And then the 50s, 50, and 57. And I always put them in numerical order. That's really the correct way to do it, from least to greatest. And that's pretty much it for your stem and leaf. And we already made the key. So let's do a box and whisker plot. So the first thing we need for the box and whisker plots is to find the max, min, and the Q1, Q2, and Q3. So the min and the max are the easiest. So the min is 23. The max value is 57. And remember, the Q2 is just the median. So we're going to go up here and we're going to find the median of our set of data. So we've got 15 data points, so we should have a middle value. 7. So 36 is our median. So that is our Q2. And then the Q1 is the median of the lower half, so that kind of cuts it in half. And then we'll find the median of the lower half of data. So 25. The median of the upper half of data. 41, so that's our Q1 and our Q3. I'm okay with not putting an entire number line here, guys. If you just want to put your whiskers and your box, that is fine with me. That's really the important part. It doesn't really matter what values are in between. We're just looking at those values at those key points. So the min value, the lowest value is 23. The Q1 is 25. Q2, 36. Q3, 41, and your max is 57. So you don't have to put entire number line there. That is fine to just do it that way. If you had the whiskers and the box values, that's really the important part there. So are there any outliers? So let's find our interquartile range. first because we're going to need that. So IQR is 41 minus 25. So our IQR equals 16. Okay, so that's important because we need that formula to find our outliers, because the first formula is Q1 minus 1.5 times that IQR. And then the other formula is Q3 plus 1.5 times that IQR. So the first thing we're going to do is plug in our values here. So Q1 is 25 and our IQR is 16. So 25 minus 1.5 times 16 equals 1. And then Q3 is 41 plus 1.5 times 16 equals 65. So when you get these two values, 65 and 1, what you do with them is check to see, are there any values lower than 1? Are there any values greater than 65? If there's not, then there's no outliers. That's what's considered to be an outlier value, anything outside those two numbers. So in this case, no outliers, but you do have to use that formula to verify it. No guessing. Okay, so frequency table, all you guys are doing is seeing how many numbers we have from in between each interval. So 23 to 28. If you'll notice, this 28 has a parenthesis, this one has a bracket. So the actual number 28 is included in this one. The one above is really like 27.999 repeating. It's like up to 28. So 28, 33, 38, they're all included in the ones with the brackets for that value. So really we're looking, since we have no decimals, how many numbers do we have from 23 to 27? So there are 4 numbers in our data set, not like on a number line, in our data set from 23 to 28. And actually to 27, I'm sorry. So we just tally how many times a number occurs within that interval. 28 to 33. We've got one number from 28 to 33. And 32, I'm sorry. So the next one is 33 to 37. We've got 4 numbers in our data set in that interval. 38 to 42, there are 3. 43 to 47, there are none, so we're just going to leave that blank. 48 to 52, there are 2. And 53 to 57, there is 1. So, frequency table, just another way of giving you a range of data. How many times do we have a data value within this range? But what you can do with a frequency table is make a histogram. So a histogram displays the distribution of a quantitative variable, whereas a bar graph displays categorical data. So since we've got numbers, we're going to use a histogram. So using the above frequencies, construct a histogram below. So what we do is put the frequencies on the side. And since we don't have one that occurs more than 4 times, we only have to go up to 4. So our frequencies goes on our side, and then our intervals go on the bottom here. So give me a minute, I'm going to write the intervals down here at the bottom. So I just copied the intervals right from the chart, put them in numerical order, and now we'll just put the number of times we have a data value within each of those intervals. So The interval 23 to 27.999, we had 4 data values. So we're going to put a bar up to 4 for that interval. For 28 to 33, it was once. So for a histogram, these bars need to be touching. There should be no gaps because it's right from one to the other. So no gaps here, right next to each other, touching. 33 to 38, there were 4. 38 to 43, there were 3. 43 to 48, there were none, so it is okay to leave a gap there. 48 to 53, there were 2. And then 53 to 58, there was 1. You can leave them plain, you can color them in if you want, whatever you want to do, but they should be touching. There shouldn't be any gaps in between each frequency interval when you put that in, and then that's about it. So you make a frequency table and then use that frequency table to make a histogram.